This is K Rock Cast, the podcast where music and perspectives collide.
I'm Anne, a music lover who's the ultimate fan.
And I'm Kelly, a professional musician. Join us as we dive into the world of the Rose and other Korean and Asian rock bands.
Sometimes we'll agree, sometimes we'll wildly disagree, but what's guaranteed is a passionate, hilarious, and unfiltered conversation about the music that unites us and the bands that inspire us. All right, welcome back for part 2 of Into the 4444 Reborn. Before we dive into the tracks, we had to record an additional hot take segment because, believe it or not, in between the date we recorded part 1 and now, The Rose has released a teaser of the new lightstick. And Kelly, we have so many theories as to what this could mean and the direction of the new album. So, listeners, we wanted to take a moment and go through that. Plus, there's some additional news around the rock industry that we also wanted to share.
The Rose released a teaser video on January the 21st across their social media sites. This is really similar to a VR video, and it's kind of leans back to some of the ideas and things that we've been drop fed in the past about future ideas for expansion into the virtual reality world. There's an image of the guitar with Sammy's disembodied voice in the background, and his voice is kind of hard to make out, but we definitely think there is "We Are." And what do you think comes after this, Anne? Because we've had several theories, haven't we?
Yeah, I think we've both settled on "We Are the World" or "We Are the Word." I think a lot of other fans think it could be "We Are the Rose." I've kinda heard that, but I don't know that
I've
I
heard the
hear
Rose as well. Yeah, I did hear that too.
I feel like "word" or "world" fits a little bit more. I mean, honestly, I literally thought he was saying, "We are preferred," but I don't know that that makes sense. So I'm going
We
with
are your preferential dealers.
we are preferred. I mean, I prefer them over anybody else, so it fits for me, but I'm not
Of
sure if
course,
that's
yeah,
really
yeah,
what
yeah,
he's
yeah.
saying.
I don't think that's the PR campaign we're going with, to
I
be
I
honest.
love your take on this VR, which well, you said that to me, and I was like, "Wait, I didn't really make that connection." But you're right. The video was created as though it's virtual reality, and it's done in a way, it's like we're first person, like you're in a video
Yeah,
game,
it is
right? And
first
you're
player.
walking through this field, you're looking around, you look up, you can see the sky, you look to the side, you can see the trees. And he did say in an interview on Bib and Pop, on that show, he was kinda talking
Mm.
about dabbling in virtual reality, so
He's been wanting to do this for ages.
this is fascinating.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
there's
the theories are just going wild with fans. How does this connect to maybe the theme or sound or, like, direction of their brand? I mean, personally, I said to you, I feel like this is a stark contrast. Like, this new light stick, it's a guitar, it's masculine. Some might say phallic looking, Kelly.
yeah, ever so slightly. Like, what are you saying that I said it was slightly phallic? Yeah, it is. To be perfectly honest, it is. It's not as bad as some of the light sticks we've seen because DPR Ian's, to be perfectly honest, does look like it has variable speeds as well as variable lights.
Right, but, like, this light stick, you think of the rose beam, and this new light stick is gonna be called the Rose Star. So,
It
kinda
looks
cool
it looks
name.
like a lightsaber to me. To be perfectly honest,
Yeah.
when I saw the fact that it was like a VR video,
Mm.
and then on top of that, that was the light stick, and it was like, okay, it looks like Guitar Hero.
Yes, that's what some fans said, it's like
Yeah,
Guitar Hero, yes.
it reminds me of
I
that.
even I even saw fans that noticed there's these little, like, pieces on it that look like a strap could be
Yeah,
attached to
the
it.
strap holders, yeah.
Yeah, they're totally strap holders. I mean, I think to me, I like the new look. I think that it captures their personality more. I think the
To be
rose beam, to be kinda honest, it looked like every other K-pop group's light stick. I mean, to be very honest, it almost was identical to Seventeen's Carrot light stick. So, I think this one sets them apart, kind of in a way that Epic Highs sets them apart. It's this literal middle finger sticking
I
up to
love
them, which they
that
love,
that
but
is
it
the
captures
only one that if I ever saw, I'd buy. To be perfectly, I'm not a fan of the light sticks. It's just
Yeah.
something else to get hit round the back of the head at a gig.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah,
But the
yeah.
Epic High Light Stick is something I literally have always wanted to buy Sammy and give to him as a gift because it's, like, so perfect for him in terms of the middle finger, but
They'd
what I
got them
like
in the K-pop store in Koreatown, and to be
Oh,
perfectly
yeah.
honest, I stood there, was like, "Do I really want to take this back to England
Oh,
and explain
I
this going
know.
through customs?"
It's hysterical, but what I like about theirs is it captured who they were, right? Like,
Yeah,
it's so their
exactly. It's
personality,
great.
Epic High, and I think this Rose Star, the guitar, I think it captures more of the Rose's, like, actual personality to me, but it made me think of, like, again, are they gonna rebrand themselves? Because I think the imagery in this teaser it's literally something coming down the rose star comes down out of the sky, it blows up the black rose that's there in this beautiful garden, right? And then you have this desolate, barren rock, and this guitar comes, you know, out from the rock. It's, like, so masculine and just,
The
like
thing is, you've explained it like that, and I've now got 2001 at the beginning where the monolith lifts up and then all the monkeys
Right!
start.
That's exactly
Is
what's
that
in
what's
my
gonna
head.
happen?
I'm like, are they trying to kind of maybe appeal maybe in this new era, they're kind of appealing more to male fans or trying to reach fans, not just female fans?
And this goes back to what I said in the last episode. If they'd have come out and probably done Red as their first single, they would have had a more mixed audience than
Mhm.
going with a ballad as the first
Mhm.
track.
Yeah.
I can't say anything about it. It was a balls to the wall decision, and they did great off of the back of it. But yeah, they're going to rebrand. You rebrand every time you release anything new. You always
Right.
do. You have to.
Mhm.
You've got to become a new entity. And maybe the fact that they've gone stripped back, they've
Mm.
stripped the garden back to rock, is the
Mhm.
nostalgia thing. They've stripped back to rock.
Oh my god, yes. Yes. I love that. Yeah.
But I mean, then again, bless, we do have a certain little guy in the band that pops up every now and again and just goes, "Anybody got the hint yet?"
What do you mean? Oh, you're talking about Ha-Jun. Yeah,
Hajun,
like,
yeah.
did you
And it was the most sort of like, "Come on, get the hint. What are you playing at, people? Why have you not got this yet?"
I know, and then I feel like I'm dumb, Ha-Jun, because 'cause I'm like, "Okay, shit, like, do I get the hint? Do I get it? I don't know."
"Whoa,
Like,
come again. What was this? What was the
bless
hint?"
Ha-Jun's heart. That man continues okay, here's the drinking, 'cause I have not had enough Ha-Jun in this episode. It's a Woosung-centric album we're talking, so,
Well,
you know
but we've already decided as well. So people, if you not getting enough drink in you because she hasn't sung the praises of our favourite drummer, you can also use it for every time I say, "To be perfectly honest."
yeah. So now we've got 2
Uh,
things. When I sing the praises of Ha-Jun and when Kelly says, "To be perfectly honest, take a drink."
Take a
So here we
drink.
go. Jun, that man is keeping us alive by his little posts and his little drips. Thank God for him. We love him.
Yeah, yeah, we do. Bless him.
But
Bless
when
his
he
little
did,
cotton socks.
when he posted that, I have to admit, I was like, I don't know that I get the hint, but I think it's what you're saying. I like that. Stripping it all the way back to the
I think
beginning.
I think it's kind of stripped back. They've stripped back to being a rock band. I think that's probably where they're coming from, and
I
it's
mean,
the
the
nostalgia as well.
Yeah, on our Instagram page, listeners, if you follow us, there is a reel that I posted from the 7th anniversary live that they did where, Sammy, our spoiler king, I love him. He played a little bit of a track that they don't know when they'll ever release. At that time, he said it could be a summer hit and, next year. But if you think of that sound, it sounded to me very much kind of like 2000s rock,
Oh, it
that
was. Yeah,
yeah, yeah, so
yeah,
maybe that's gonna be the
definitely.
sound of the new album, which I'd be
Yeah.
all for that.
Well, I mean, I'm a rock metal girl anyway, so I mean, that's more my type of thing. But yeah, I think whatever they do, they will do brilliantly at it. I
Yeah.
don't
Oh,
think
yeah.
this isn't going to be a dud album, isn't it? At the end of the day, it's going to
Oh,
be
never.
a brilliant album.
I think they're smart to rebrand the lightstick because I keep going back to kind of them wanting to expand, the fan base and the gender. But if you think like if they do want more male fans coming to their shows, men are going to be less likely to hold the rose beam up. But if you got this guitar, like they might gravitate to that more. Just like I'm sure there's a lot of male Epic High fans that are out there with that middle finger light stick, like loving it. So I think it's smart for them just in
I
terms of
mean,
expansion.
and I'm going to say it now. To be perfectly honest, raise your glasses.
There you go. Raise your
There
glasses.
you go. Raise your glasses,
Cheers.
folks. Um, if you are creating merchandise for a band, you need to cater for both sides of your audience. They don't.
Right.
Um, they don't. They just don't cater for the male side of the audience. They cater primarily for female members of their audience. If you look at bands who have really great merch, and I mean really, really great merch, so a lot of these are the rock metal bands because that's how they make the money. That's how they manage to tour these huge shows. So, for example, Sleep Token, they probably have 200 items in their shop. They even
Mm.
have homeware in there.
Yeah, wow.
It's yeah.
With the rose, it's like you have this limited time, right? Like some of the I think their, merch items that are their clothing are very great for both genders, they're very unisex. And I think guys would wear, those clothes as well, but they're only there a limited time, and once they sell out, it's like you'll never get it again.
Supply and demand, and
Yeah.
I know we've weirdly enough, we've not long since had this conversation, that we all think they're bigger than they are
Yeah,
because they
I
play
told you,
arenas,
in my
but
mind, they're the biggest band out there.
yeah, they're bigger than Beatles, come on.
I realized, like, "Oh, wait, I guess they haven't reached that level that now be as a fan, like, I think they're like I think everybody loves them, right? It is like, no, I guess they're
They
not that big yet."
when they tour, they do quality over quantity. So your choices are you do one big show and you put on a big show and you get your entire audience to travel in for that show. Or you do the other side of it and you go, right, we're going to go to the UK, for example, and we're going to play London, Birmingham, Nottingham, Leeds. We'll pop up to Glasgow. They'll do a date in Ireland and possibly something in Wales. Or you just play one big arena show and just hope and pray that everybody can come and see you do that one big show. And that's what they do. I can't blame
Well
them for that. It cuts down on the traveling.
well, Kelly, it's exciting because we know they are playing February 22nd at Rabbit to the Moon K-pop Festival. Hot take, since the last, part 1 was recorded, you now have tickets.
I do.
I'm
I
so
also I
excited because I'm
I
gonna
also
live
have I also have my flight booked and my credit card's going, "No!"
I am living vicariously through you. I cannot wait to hear about it. I still think they're gonna preview something, or maybe they'll have an announcement prior to that. I mean, who knows? I feel like any day we could get some big news from them.
Yeah, definitely. I think they'll preview something there, to be honest. I
I think so
they
too.
normally do. I'm kind of expecting a release probably the week after that,
Yeah, that would make sense.
which would probably be a single, I think. I think the
Yeah,
album's gonna come in March. I think they've left it too late to release an album in February. I think it'll be a
correct.
single in February, album in March. And
Oh
then
my gosh, you're gonna hear it probably. They'll probably be playing it at that festival, which is so
yeah,
exciting. Hey, there for the rose. Well, we can't wait. We'll definitely dive into that as soon as Kelly comes back from Rabbit to the Moon Festival. We're definitely gonna do an update in the hot takes so that she can share her experience with all of you listeners. Why don't we wrap up this kind of updated news segment, Kelly, with just some of the other big things happening across the rock industry?
Yeah, there's been quite a few things come out actually the last couple of days. One OK Rock released some more tracks from their forthcoming Detox album on Friday. That's the 24th of January. That featured Puppets Can't Control You. plus Matter and Dystopia. Now, Dystopia came out a little bit earlier. God, these tracks are amazing. I don't know what this new
Yeah.
album's going to be like, but it is so, so, so good. The full
Yeah.
album is released on the 21st of February.
Yeah, I have not really listened to a lot of One OK Rock, but just the little snippets that I have been coming through our Instagram account and then I share them back out. I really like it. So I think this is the album I'm gonna start listening to them for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I'm going to see these in Paris, supporting Linkin Park.
Nice, nice. Lincoln
Yeah,
Park
so
with their new front person that's a woman.
yeah. So that'll be weird. I was very lucky to see Linkin Park with Chester Bennington when he was still with us.
Yeah,
And
may
that
he rest in peace.
I can't remember what festival it was. It might have been Download or Reading or Leeds or something like that, and they were brilliant.
Oh,
So it's
yeah.
going to be a bit strange to see somebody else fronting the band, but
He
it'd be interesting.
Yeah, because he had such a unique voice, and so kind of like we
Yeah,
say Sammy, we talked about that in the last episode, his voice is so unique, he's lended the sound to the rose. I felt that way with their lead for Linkin
yeah,
Park. His voice was
definitely.
so unique, he was their sound.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. So in other news, so we thought DPR Ian had sort of vanished to go off and do his new album. Well, he hasn't. He's announced that he's going to be playing at the Colours of Ostravia in the Czech Republic on the 16th to the 19th of July. And then the last bit of news is that our lovely Roy Back is finally launching his long-awaited clothing label. And
Yay,
the Roy,
Roy!
I know. So the Roy Beside label, let me just point this one out because this I love this. Roy Back, Roy Beside.
I did not catch that joke when I first
I
read
love
the name of
that.
his label. I
I
love
love
Roy.
that. And so it's expected to drop in March.
Yeah, bless
So
Roy,
that'll be
we love
interesting.
him.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
good
do. He's
for
brilliant.
him. I think he does a phenomenal job styling the Rose. Love their style. Excited to see if their style is gonna evolve. We were talking about that, Kelly, like,
Yeah.
every you said kinda every time that, a band comes out with something new, they continue to evolve their look, their concept, what the concept will be for this new album and how Roy will style them on tour. I know it's gonna be gorgeous. I think his style is great, and good for him. I'm glad he's starting his own label. He deserves the recognition. We're going to start with the first track, Let There Be Light, featuring Bowl 4. This is the DJ Raiden remix version of it. Why don't you break down a little bit about the background of DJ Raiden for us?
So DJ Raiden, his real name is Han Suk Hun, and he's a South Korean DJ and a record producer that is signed under SM Entertainment. He's known mainly for EDM and house music. He's been active on the scene since 2013, and he's had high profile collaborations with pop stars in the K-pop sphere like Girls' Generation and EXO. If you want to check out more of his stuff, you can find him on Instagram and it's DJ underscore Raiden. We were lucky enough to see him in LA, and he was the guest DJ at the Before We Die spot in LA. And there was a drop in of the Let There Be Light remix by Dojun at the actual Woosung show as well. And he transitioned into the standard song into this really beautiful, beautiful drum and bass bit that I got very excited
Oh my
about.
god, people went nuts,
It's
myself
amazing. Why?
included. Like, nuts. Woosung went nuts when that song came on, like, he was so high energy at that point. People just went crazy over this remix.
It's amazing. That's why.
It is amazing,
That
yes.
ends that break is amazing, but I'll get onto that in a little bit. What you'll tend to find sometimes with EDM is they'll mess around with what key signature it's in and bits and pieces like that. A lot of the time they do tend to keep it as the original, so I'll say if it's the original or not. So this is in C sharp B flat, and it's 174 BPM. As I mentioned, this is the drum and bass track on the entire album. I kind of wish there were more. So basic 4 beats per bar, and it's a major mode. That's why you get that really upbeat thing about it all the way through. As I've said, when he played this live as part of his set, I had the biggest grin on my face. I was like, "Oh God, if this is what he's doing, this is amazing." Because it, to me, this was a bit more the experimental thing. It pushed the boundaries a bit more. It moved it on from the dance track it was to the dance track it could be. And I really got it. That breakdown is an absolute thing of beauty. And it's the highlight of the entire album for me. It
Mm.
really is. So for it to come in so early on the first track, I was surprised. And I like the fact that it's obviously it's drum and bass, but it's got this little bit of a gabba kick to it as well. And I was like, oh, are we going there? Are we actually going to push the boundaries this much? I love this. I love this. The rest of the track, though, doesn't live up to the brilliance of that section.
Mm.
But I think if the rest of the track was as busy as that section is, it wouldn't
Right.
work as well. So you need it to be a little bit more contained to get that drop to be and that breakdown to be as amazing as it is.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you about the rest of the song not quite living up to that section, that we did here in the concert. I think it is the best part of the whole
Yeah,
song. And I'm
yeah.
with you, like, I was kind of expecting the whole song to be at that, like, energy level, and it wasn't. Um
I'm kind of used to like dance music being that level of energy,
Right,
but the
right.
the mainstream EDM artists. So for me to sort of expect it to be like that all the way through is me putting my expectations on their work. And
Mhm,
I can't do that. I mean, I've had to sort of take myself away and sort of do a little bit of a check and go like,
mhm.
no, Kel, just sit back, listen to it as a musician, not as somebody who would buy the music as such.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, and
s-
I feel like I know why I think, they played just that portion because it is the
oh
best
God.
part of the song. So
And you know damn well that Sammy loves that goddamn section because I
oh
think
my
Sammy's
god,
a
he
bit.
went
I think
nuts.
I
He
think
went
he's a bit
crazy
more
on stage.
experimental with his sounds than just general
Yeah.
that you get. The problem is obviously I've listened to this album a lot and it's grown on me.
Mhm.
But the first section, is it just me or do the synths sound like a SNES game?
I don't know what that means, a SNES game.
S-
What does that mean?
Super Nintendo Entertainment System. It
Oh!
sounds like Mario Brother
Oh, it sounds like Mario Brothers. I
or
don't
Doctor.
know.
There's like a Doctor Robotnik thing going on.
Mm.
It's got that sort of 90s Japanese synth made for Nintendo sound to it.
I've kinda noted I didn't necessarily note that, but what I thought was odd in the first portion of the song is, it feels like the melody just changes, like,
Yeah, it does.
constantly.
Yeah,
And so it's kind of,
but
like,
that's
all over the place.
but that's to keep your interest because if they didn't do that, you'd sort of go, okay, it's
Yeah.
just a beat. So you need to sort of put that one in. But yeah, I can't hear it now without seeing
Oh my
Mario.
gosh, now I'm gonna go back and hear this I'm gonna re-listen to this Raven remix and think of
I'm
Mario
so
Brothers.
sorry. It's
Do,
another
do,
one I've
do,
ruined
do,
for you, is
do,
it?
do, do. That's how I
Yeah.
think of Mario Brothers.
See, you see your brain went to that and mine went to the dungeon bit. I've got da 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 da
Oh,
da.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh my god, you're taking me back. I thought it was
Oh,
interesting, this remix is a lot shorter than the original. So the original version is about 3 minutes, 25 seconds. This remix is only 2 minutes, 9 seconds.
you tend to find that with a lot of dance music though, because they're mixing it
Yeah,
into other tracks,
yeah.
which is also another thing as well. So at the very end of it, and I still haven't quite worked out what it is, but there's a sample of either Body Moving by the Beastie Boys or the Fatboy Slim remix of that track that's
Mm,
right at the very end, and it just sort of fades in and fades out. And I wonder if that's the next track that he, in his set,
mm.
would fade into.
Yeah, that's
So
so
so when it's a dance track, generally speaking, you're transitioning into something else.
true. Mhm.
And when it's cut as a
True.
single as when it's cut as a single as such, you lose that transition. So you might get a random track at the end of it and you just think, oh, what's that? But yeah, there's
I mean,
there's definitely body moving in there.
I think this is a fan favorite. I mean, whether so many fans heard it at the LA show and, obviously heard that the best part of the song at the LA
Yeah.
show, and that's what they gravitated to. It's also the first track on the album. It's getting the second highest streams on Spotify. So as of today's recording, it's at over 32,000 streams. I think it's a good remix overall.
It's a very good remix.
Yeah.
It's radio friendly, but it also
Yeah, you
has a
said
little bit of
that.
experimentation in it, yeah.
Yeah, which is gonna lead us into the second song on 4444 Reborn, another remix version of Let There Be Light featuring Bowl 4. Now, this is with an artist named Lame Impala, and I have to give this background because I started doing research on every one of these remix artists. I type in Lame Impala in my browser. I can't find anything on this person. I can find a ton on a well-known DJ and music producer named
Tame
Tame
Impala?
Impala. And what did I text you, Kelly? What did I say to you?
Is this a typo?
I was
Has
like I was like, "Do
have they
I
not
need
checked
to
it before
email
they sent it
somebody
out?
at Transparent Arts and tell them there's a typo?" Like, I was, like, very horrified and kind of worried that it was seriously a typo, and I put my feelers out to Black Roses on Rosarium, asking for the collective music knowledge of the thousands of Black Roses that are out there. Who's this artist? Nobody knew. Thank God for the allkpop.com article that told us this is the alter ego of Brian Lee.
Yeah.
So, if for the listeners who maybe aren't as familiar with Brian Lee, he is a Korean American producer and songwriter. He did 5 of the 8 tracks on Woosung's original 4444 album. So he was his main kind of creative partner, I think, for that album. We're going to talk a lot more about Brian Lee. We are going to do a full deep dive into Woosung's original 4444 album, and we'll spend more time about him there. But he's worked with major pop and K-pop artists. I mean, this man has been in the industry for a long time. I don't know if this is his first time kind of putting music out under this pseudonym.
I would have thought so.
I
I
guess
think it's probably
so.
a new venture for him, yeah.
But let me tell you, when I first heard Let There Be Light, and it transitions from the DJ Raiden version into this one, the stark contrast was honestly jarring. Like, to the point where I'm gonna admit, I said out loud to myself, like, "What the fuck is this?" Like, what is this? Because it is so different. So break down for us, Kelly, like whether is it the key? Is it the tempo? What's some of the main differences in this remix that makes it such a
Right.
stark difference?
So the stark contrast is this is C sharp D flat, and this is 106 beats per minute. So literally, you have been running at full pelt on a treadmill and you've just fallen off.
Yeah, and that's how I
That's why it feels like it's jarring.
And it was so weird, the placement. I mean, I guess, like, back to Sammy, right? Like, everything he does has a reason. So it seemed like he placed these songs in line he placed the same remixes together, you
Yeah.
know? So I guess that's why this one is right after the Raiden one, but wow, you couldn't be more different from each other.
Yeah, so 106 BPM falls into down tempo and chill.
Yes, like I said to you, like this song, here's some of my like things that I heard in it. It immediately grabs me of these 1980s R&B synths,
Yeah,
right? In the 80s, like
yeah.
R&B music, those synths were so popular. I immediately I'm going to date myself with this, but the R&B 80s group DeBarge. I don't know if any other listeners are familiar with R&B music, but DeBarge was a huge group in the 1980s in the R&B genre. They had a breakout hit in 1985, Rhythm of the Night. So there's this like tropical vibe going on to this
Yeah,
Let
now
There Be Light
you said
remix.
that to me and I was just like, "Oh, but that's so and so and so and so," and I was like, I'd got like the early 90s dance version in my head.
Yes, that's right. I
Yeah,
forgot there was a dance version in
yeah,
the
yeah.
90s of Rhythm of the Night, but I just was like, "What is this?" And I think a lot of fans have very mixed reactions to these Lame Impala remixes. I yeah, like,
Well,
at first.
when I first heard them, I was a bit like, "Oh, okay, these are gonna take a bit more of a listen." So even though it's down tempo and chill, it's still in a major mode, so you still get that movement with it as well. And that's kind of why it feels a bit strange because you've had that sudden drop in tempo, so you've gone from D and B, and then you've gone to
Yeah.
the other extreme of it. Now, I can honestly say I was a bit unsure about both of his tracks. I think they might actually both be my favourites now.
Oh my god, you okay, we haven't gotten to Happy Alone yet. Have you turned the corner on Happy Alone?
I
I
love
will
it.
say, I turned the corner on this one. The more I listened to it, like I said, the first time I heard it, I was like, "What the fuck is this?" Now, I'm like, "I fuck with this song. This is my jam. This is my jam." But to me, it's more R&B. Like,
Yeah,
I don't know. It's not
it is kind.
EDM to me.
Yeah, when you say R&B, it is kind of. It reminds me of Childish Gambino, and for the life of me, I cannot think what bloody track it is. But there's a track by Childish Gambino which is really similar to this
Mm.
in the tempo and way it's put together. Um, I used to love her. I really do. I love
I feel
all
like
of his stuff.
I feel like either Brian Lee is like a fucking musical genius,
Oh,
like,
he's a fucking musical
or
genius. He
it's just
is.
like it's like, what the fuck is he doing?
To be perfectly honest, there is a very fine line between genius and what the actual fuck.
Yes, there's a fine line, and I think I had perceived from a lot of what I was hearing or reading from fans that they didn't really like these, but if you look at streams on Spotify, these 2 of these Lame Impala, they are the 3rd and 4th most streamed at sitting at a little over 26,000 streams each. So, obviously, people are listening to these.
Yeah, exactly. But I think that's one placement on the album. I think there will be a lot of what the fuck have I just listened to? I need to listen to this again.
Yes,
So there'll
that's
be
true.
repeat listening to it because I mean I don't know how many times I've listened to it to get my head around what's happening.
So true.
But I also think there's the fact that it will, because it's so different, it potentially brings in different listeners as well.
Right. Yeah.
So there's that crossover of things. And I mean, but so many things in it I really like. So there's a keyboard in it. There's a synth section, which is a keyboard section, but he's used like a trumpet sound. So
Yes.
it's really heavy 80s thing, which is why I think you've gone back to like the idea of DeBarge, and I
Yes,
think
it's like
that's where it reminds you of.
I know, and then I had in my notes too, it's like around 45 seconds, the melody changes again, and
Yeah,
it's like it just made me think is very reminiscent of, again, 1982, beginnings of hip hop, the origins of hip hop,
yeah,
The Message by Grandmaster Flash, which
yeah,
was later sampled by Diddy in his debut song, Can't Nobody Hold Me Down, that
yeah.
which sorry, I have no ears, so I know that that doesn't sound like anything like it really sounds, but I just think, like, I guess Brian Lee and I think we seem to be similar ages, so I feel like he was very inspired in this remix of just
Yeah.
the '80s genres of music, be it R&B, hip hop, you're talking about Childish
But
Gambino, like
you've got to bear in mind the 80s were have literally come full circle. The
mhm.
sounds of the 80s have. So two of the bands that I have listened to obsessively recently are The Strike and Midnight Cinema.
Yeah, I know. So if we
Uh,
put these 2 together, the 2 Let There Be Light remix, DJ Raiden and Lame Impala, you gotta pick one. Which one do you like best?
right. So there's parts of the original that do grate on me, but I adore the breakdown in the Raiden version. However, the Lame Impala one has grown on me, and there's a lot more in that track.
Mm,
But I don't know whether that's me listening to it from a musical perspective
mhm.
or listening to it just to dance to. I think if you're just dancing to it, probably the Raiden one wins.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I kind of agree with you, like, I'm gonna go Raiden overall, but god, this I didn't want it to, but this Lame Impala one is, like, really growing on me.
Yeah, it's
Brian
like
Lee is
fungus.
a musical genius, obviously. Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely growing on me. I can't wait to hear listeners, like, what you guys think of these Lame Impala remixes, as well. Let's jump in then to Happy Alone. So, it's interesting because Happy Alone has become, on the original album, a real fan favorite. And it was
It's a
such a
beautiful song.
stark difference for Woosung, like, it wasn't even an EDM, it was a blues, and so to do this remix of it, again, so different. So what's your take on the Lame Impala remix of Happy Alone?
Right, where do I begin with this one? First time I heard it, I hated it.
Yes, me too. And I don't know, I haven't come around yet.
I've come around full circle. Um, but I think it's because I needed to give it more listens.
I mean, you say you like experimental. This
Yeah,
to me because, you told me, like, shout out to my middle school and high school music teacher. I remembered enough to remember. I was like, "This song is not in a standard time signature."
it isn't at all.
And you told me what's the time signature on this one?
Right, so this is in 3/4.
Yeah, which is it gives it that, like,
It gives it jarring motion
it
when
feels offbeat
yeah,
from the
exactly. It's
flow of the
and I think
vocals.
hold on a minute, let me just think. I think the beat does actually land off beat as well, in part. And
Yeah, and
one
it
part of it, I
creates
think it does drop off
it
beat.
I think it definitely does. It creates this, like, dissonance feeling.
Yeah, and
It's
it's
kind of
lovely, and I love
uncomfortable.
that. Yeah, I quite like things that make me feel
I know.
slightly but no, it does. It makes you feel on edge. I mean, it's in the key of A. It's 111 beats per minute, and he missed a trick with that one because he could have got his angel number referencing again. It kind of reminds me of trip hop. Now, I don't know if anybody outside of the UK knows what trip hop is.
I don't know that genre.
So trip hop is a thing that came out of Bristol. It's a UK subgenre and it's like a blend of acid jazz, hip hop, reggae, and electronica.
Mm.
This is slightly too fast to be trip hop, but it has that sort of downbeat,
Yeah.
gloomy vocals,
Yeah.
slightly wistful thing that trip hop has. So if you don't know trip hop, go and check out Massive Attack, DJ Shadow, and Tricky. I love all of those. Remember seeing I think DJ Shadow was actually the first, like, electronic DJ I ever saw.
Mm.
Some of it, you'll it might challenge you some of it, but yeah, I love trip hop. It's definitely a thing. This is slightly faster than that,
Mhm.
and it's 3 beats per minute, so that's what throws you.
Yeah.
It's in a minor mode, which is what makes you feel slightly more uncomfortable with it
I
as
have this
well.
comment, Kelly, that you laughed at in our episode notes. I said at around 1 minute 30, this creepy synth comes in, and it gives you I said it's like the background music in a horror film. And it is, it's just like this, like, creepy kind of, and I guess it is that key that you're
It is.
kinda talking
It
about,
is.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, definitely, it is. I mean, horror movie soundtracks have made their mark using this type of stuff. I mean, that's why
Well,
it makes you feel a little bit uncomfortable.
I know,
But
Brian Lee, I'm sure you are a musical genius, but I couldn't get down with this one.
love it. I absolutely love it. I mean, I've got slightly obsessed with it. I think I the other day, the other day I was in the car. I think I had it on loop and I listened to it like 10 times over.
You're looping it, and I'm skipping it. I'm like, "Oh god, here we go. Let's move on to the 444, the Keep
No,
It Forever
honestly.
ones."
But there's
Oh,
also the other strange thing as well. So like that time signature, it also gives it because it gives it that awkward feeling.
yeah.
And it is kind of an awkward subject. It's like, I mean, to go back to the original song, it's like,
Mhm.
yeah, thank God you fucked off. Yay!
I know the song Black Roses love this song because it's just like he's like, "Yeah, fuck you. I'm just happy this is gone now." Like, God.
Exactly. But because it's got this awkward feel, it sort of gives it a lumbering feel
It
as
is,
well. It
yes.
kind of, I know it sounds daddy, but it's sort of weird, but it's got that slight pimp daddy thing to it. It's got
Yeah.
like slightly
I
swagger pimp
I
daddy
was
walk to
thinking of
it.
Sammy as a pimp daddy. I like that
Oh
mental
God, don't
picture.
tell him that.
I like that mental
Don't
picture.
bloody say that. Crying out loud, woman. God. Oh,
Whose
Jesus.
song has
Yeah,
a
yeah,
pimp daddy. Yeah.
yeah. Just throw that flipping gasoline on the fire. Why not? Um, yeah. Oh, you've
So you were
thrown me
talking
now.
about, like, how there's always in a lot of, EDM, inspiration of different sounds and song snippets, and it was driving me nuts, the first piano
Yeah,
chords over this hard drum. It was driving me crazy, what song I felt like that sounded so much like, and I think I landed on "Benny and the Jets" by
yeah,
Elton John, the beginning
yeah.
of that song.
And I was listening, I was so obviously when I've had it on loop, and I'm actually wondering whether or not when it's been played that he's played the chords, but he's reversed the notes.
Yeah, I feel like you're right, it could be because it's not exactly the same, but gosh,
So
very
so
similar.
he's playing the chord on it, but it doesn't sit right. So it sounds like each note is there's either a weird phasing on it, so he's whacked up like the phase on it, so you get that weird pitch difference in it, or he's actually flipped the note. So when you hit the note, you get the original "duh," and then it slows down. And I think actually it builds up. So I think he's switched the notes. He's
Mm,
actually flipped the note, so you get the quieter to louder, which is unbelievably clever and very time consuming if he's actually done that. And then there's this really lovely bass rumble in it, and it just adds to the tug and pull, which is also one of the things I think you find slightly uncomfortable because you get this
yes.
dissonance, this tug and pull. But by doing that, you get the relief as soon as the synth comes in on the chorus.
Mm.
So it is to make you feel uncomfortable, and then the chorus comes in and you go, "Oh."
I'm like I was trying to pick out good and bad things, because I can't say I hate this song, but to me, the best thing about this was Woosung's original vocals. Like out of all the other remixes, I feel like he uses most of the vocals all throughout this song, and so I love Woosung's vocals on Happy Alone. So that I feel like that's my silver lining of this song. Everything else I just can't get behind. I can't do it.
I love it.
I know. There we go. There's our differences. The musician and the fan.
I love it. I do love it. I
The
really do.
musician respects the musicianship behind this
Yes.
remix, and the fan is like, "What the fuck is this?"
Remind me to send you some of the stuff that I listen to on my downtime and just go, Anne, listen to this. You're gonna love it. And you'll go, I'm never speaking to you again.
All right. Well, let us know, guys, our listeners, what all of you think of both of these Lame Impala remixes, particularly the Happy Alone. Okay, we're going to move on to the next song that has a group of remixes, the Forget Forever or 4-4. The first one is by an artist, Matame. So why don't you go into
Matinee.
Kelly telling us a little bit of background about this artist?
So, Matamé is actually two brothers, and they have been around for quite a while. They're from Italy, and they're a DJ and production duo. Matteo and Emilio Giovanni, and I probably pronounce the surname right, and my Italian friend is gonna kick my ass, is all I'm gonna say about that one. They do really cinematic techno music. So it's all about the euphoria levels and it's all about building. And they tend to go very heavily into the visual of it as well. They're both classically trained musicians, which is why you get this anthemic, rousing, cinematic thing. Matteo studied film and he worked as a film director. So this is why he's kind of pushing the boundaries of the visualization of it as well. Um, so the AV is meant to be a completely immersive production. So I think it's one of those shows that even if you don't like the music, you would stand and watch it and just be in awe of what they do. I think it was 2013 when they started, but the debut album didn't come out until last year. But you tend to find that with a lot of DJs. They don't physically release stuff until they've been in the business for quite a while. They're
Yeah,
too
I
busy
think
doing
that's
gigs,
interesting.
basically.
Mhm. Yeah, I noticed that with a few of these artists. That's interesting.
They're behind remixes of the Calvin Harris and Ellie Goulding hit Free. So, I mean, they've had some really big success, to be perfectly honest. They are the heavy hitter on this album. They're the big name in the dance spectrum. For what they do. I mean, they attract They basically play like festival audiences when they do their stuff. Um,
I think this is interesting. So, you're right. I mean, obviously, maybe it's just their name is out there. In terms of number of streams, this remix has over 52,000, which
yeah,
the
it will
second
do. Yeah.
highest is only 32,000. So, it's almost double that.
So this is actually in a different key to the original.
Mm,
The original was in the key of F, and this is in G, and it's 133 beats per minute. So it sits very nicely in that techno area. It's 4/4 and it's a major mode, so it's got that Euphoria lift, and they use Euphoria chords as such to build
mhm,
a lot. I like the cinematic sort of feel of it. I like the
mhm,
expansiveness of it. I like the fact that they use Euphoria trance to build in to the synths and things like that. So you get this lovely swell,
mm.
and that pulls you through. I love the pitch shifted chords as well. So they're really nice. So you get a chord that's played pitch shifted, so you get that sort of push with it. Even though it's kind of even though it's 133 beats, it's still got that slightly pulled back sort of downbeat feel to it, which is weird in a way, but it works really well. It's just such a dry sound on the beat as well, and it's the kick drum that
Mm.
they've used, the actual processing tool, is so heavily processed. So that's why you get this sort of thud in your chest. And it's really, really dry. I do have a problem with the lyric phrasing. So what they've done is when they have cut the lyrics at the beginning of the track, they've not cut it cleanly. I mean, this will have been a choice to do it this way, but for me, I find it slightly uncomfortable because you get forget for, and you get the F of forever. And to me, it literally sounds like Sammy's trying to stifle saying forget fuck. I've left the gas on.
Well, I mean,
Uh,
he does love that word, so maybe that was
he
intentional.
does, but it sounds like somebody with Tourette's trying to
Yeah.
stifle a word,
Yeah, I know
and
what
I
you mean.
and it's
Mhm.
like, ugh, I don't like it. I find it the the little bit of OCD that I have, and it's just like, no, 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 why have you done that? But then you get to the breakdown with No One Lives Forever, and you get this really, really gorgeous use of it, and his
Mm.
vocal is pumped up, and it becomes this big euphoric lift in the song, and
Yeah,
it lifts the entire thing up, and it's gorgeous. It's
that
so,
part is
so
really
nice.
good. I know what you mean in that section, yeah.
It's the strongest use of the original track. There's very little of the original track used at all,
I
and
put that
I think they missed a trick
Yeah, I put that in my
with
notes
that.
too, that I put is very heavily focused on the beat as you're talking about, but that
Yeah,
the vocals are really not used hardly at all.
you tend to find that with a lot of dance, and especially big acts. They don't. It's all about the beat.
Yeah.
And then they'll just pick certain phrases out that then become the big part of the tune, which is kind of why I'm amazed that the No One Lives Forever, why it wasn't used as a refrain more often.
Yeah.
Because, but I suppose in a way that is their big sort of hook bit that
Mhm.
gets you into that raised state of euphoria that this techno and trance track works to. Um, they use vocoder on his vocals as well, which, yeah, it's
What is that?
one of the
Tell us what that means.
vocoder is it's like a it's like kind of like a weird delay.
Mhm.
Sometimes it can be used to shift the vocal. So when you are in a studio, good singers will go in and they'll sing it and they'll hit every single note perfect, and they'll do it, and that's the job. Run of the mill singers, and I hate to say it, people, there are a lot of run of the mill singers who are very, very, very popular, and they go in and the note is literally moved up to where it should be, or moved down. Once upon a time, I mean, you wouldn't get, I mean, like, so Sex Pistols, Johnny Rotten, God bless his soul, can't sing for toffee. But that that is why the Sex Pistols are Sex Pistols, and it was recorded onto tape, and the only thing you can do with tape is you can cut it and you can mark it and you can scratch it. So what you sound like on tape is exactly what you sound like. In the digital world, a singer isn't necessarily
Oh, right.
the singer that you will hear in person.
Oh, absolutely.
So
Yeah.
this is why you get quite a fuss made when somebody will go, "Oh, listen to the vocals. This is the raw cut. This is exactly what it sounded like when
Mhm.
they recorded it." Because it's almost a shock that somebody can sound like that. Um, so there are tools which allow you to sort of push the vocal to where it should be.
Mhm.
By the way, Sammy is singing perfectly well. He does know how to hit a note. I'm not saying
Yeah.
he doesn't. He does know how to sing. Um, and but they use that tool just to give it a little bit of an edge. It was heavily used in Cher's "Do You Believe in Love?" It was
Oh,
used in
yeah.
that. So you get that really weird and it
Kind of that
sounds a
I
bit
mean, I think of it as, like, auto-tuning.
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Mhm.
it is. It's auto-tuning, but like vocoder is a very similar thing. So
Mhm.
you get that, but there is that shift in his vocal.
Yeah, you're right. They definitely I know exactly kinda what part of those vocals you're saying they
Yeah.
altered, in that way, kinda giving it a little bit of, like, an echoey
Yes.
sorta sound, to them. Yeah. I think my favorite part of this song is the buildup that happens in kind of the final minute of the song. And
Yes.
interestingly enough, on their Instagram page, I kick myself, Kelly, that I randomly scroll through Instagram and I'm always looking at like who's tagging Woosung's Instagram handle. I came across this group, tagged him, put on 2 days before the drop of the album, had a post that had a series of clips, and one of the clips was them performing this live at a show. And at the time, I kicked myself, I didn't connect the dots. I did not connect the dots that this was this song from this album until Sammy then a little later put it out on his X, feed, put a sample of this out there, like a teaser, and then I connected the dots right away, of what it was, but I thought it was interesting that the group put it out themselves, out there, and now I know why they put this part out because again, kinda like back to the DJ Raiden remix, I feel like that final minute of this song
It's
to
the
me is,
best
like,
bit.
the best part of it.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
it is. It's the best bit.
yeah. I feel like I like this one though. I think the more I listen to it, it has to me such a continuously steady beat to where we've
Yeah.
talked a lot about like these other remixes having these drastic tempo changes all throughout and where this one just feels continuously steady. So it's one of these songs that like I'll just have in the background if I'm working or studying and I don't want the music to distract me. I mean, I like it. I think it's become one of my favorites and it's obviously getting the most streams, so it's definitely one of the fan
It's a
favorites.
yeah, it's a crowd pleaser. It's a
Mhm.
mainstream crowd pleaser, and it is the type of thing that you would hear in Ibiza.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure, for sure. All right, so let's go on to the second Forget Forever remix out of 3, I believe, on the album. This is Ion. To give a little bit of background on Ion, his real name is Park Kyu-kyung. He is a South Korean producer and DJ. He debuted independently as a member of Groovy Room, which is a South Korean hip hop producer duo in 2016 and later, he debuted as a solo artist in 2024, kind of coming out as the head of the label AT Area under the name Ion. So as a producer, it sounds like he's focused a lot in the past on hip hop music, but coming out as this solo artist, he's focusing on house, techno, trance. You can follow him. His Instagram handle is ion.the.way. And he was the guest DJ, as we mentioned, I think in the last episode, at the Brooklyn show of the Before We Die tour. He had his DJ set before Park Classic, Dojun's DJ set. I was really impressed with him at the New York show because I was in attendance at that. I thought he was great. What's your assessment assessment on this remix, Kelly?
I think it's a good remix. It's the ultimate radio-friendly edit,
Yeah,
though, this one. It really, really is. You can tell it's Ion's day job is a producer
yeah.
because he's put a gleam on this that you wouldn't necessarily get on
I
any of the other
love
tracks.
I love that you said, like, gleam, 'cause I feel the same way. It's, like, just this polish
Oh, yeah.
to
It's a
this.
K-pop polish. There is definitely a
Yeah.
thing about the K-pop polish, and it's got it all over it. So this is in the key of F, so it's the original key. There's no alteration in this at all. It's 130 beats per minute. It's 4/4 again, and it's in a major mode, so it's got that really nice forward feel to it. I like this. Again, it just plays. It doesn't make me think, and it's a good, for want of a better terminology, it's a good pop track. But the 4-minute breakdown's lovely, and that's got that really nice bit where it's got a motif that's stuck, and it just keeps building and building and building and building.
Mhm. Yeah, I love these chimes. I'm calling them chimes. I'm not sure if that's the right kind of sound description for them, but in the original song where it's like do 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 do, he uses them all throughout, and then I think he uses a lot more aspects of the original song, which back to Mathame's version, we said, like, the vocals are really stripped down. They don't really have hardly any of it,
Yeah,
where I think Ion's version uses the vocals, most of them, and I kinda like that, but then he adds his own, like, little flourishes, with some additional sounds that I think really add a little more depth for me to this. I love this. There's a good build that starts at about a minute 30, and then the song just really climaxes at about a minute 45. The beat is that's when, like, the beat is really kinda driving,
yeah.
and I love that part, and then he brings you back down, and then he starts the build kinda back up again. So I guess back to what you're saying, just very kind of classic, EDM structure, and time signature and style, but I think for me, I love this one.
It's very much what it says on the tin.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
is. It definitely is. It's a great track. Can't take that away from him. It's a really good track, but it is the most radio friendly thing on there.
Yeah, yeah, I definitely can see that. Alright, so let's move into the final Forget Forever. This is by a DJ artist named Casey Lights. Why don't you break down who this artist is for us?
So he's from my side of the world. So he's a
Yeah.
Scottish DJ, music producer and songwriter, and his real name is Kerr Slavin, and he's been active since 2012. Works with a real weird mix of people. So he's worked with people like David Guetta, but he's also worked with Clean Bandit and lots of other weird and wonderful acts as well. There's really nice stuff in this, I will admit. So this has moved to the key of C, which I'm amazed about when you bear in mind the original is in F. So it's quite a shift. It's 128 beats per minute and it's in 4/4 again and it's in a major mode. It has these really lovely choral stabs that are very typical of what he does. If you listen to any of his previous work, you'll find lots of evidence of these choral stabs in pretty much everything that he's done. There is a little bit of music by numbers, and that sounds horrible of me to say, but I
What
say
do you
that
mean by
because
that?
he does a very expected drop at 1 minute, and it's
Yeah.
bang on 1 minute, and it's like, oh, there's the drop. There's where we'd
I
expect it to
think
be.
I think this is why you and I both call this song EDM safe because
It's
it's
EDM
like
safe. It is, yeah,
I don't
it
know,
is.
are we coining that term on this podcast? Like, is that a
Yeah,
thing? But,
yeah, it's
like,
EDM safe.
it
Yeah.
totally is.
It sounds like something from Thousand Shades of Grey.
But, like,
So not Thousand Shades of Grey, 50 Shades of Grey.
50 Shades
When you
of
say
Grey.
that, wow, Thousand Shades of Grey, we've gone to a whole different level. I don't even
Yeah.
want to know what's involved with that one. Um,
But, I'm
but
gonna say this, that I say that, laughingly about being EDM safe, but I gotta admit, I kinda love this
it's
remix
a great track.
because it
It is
is
a great
EDM
track.
safe, I think, like
Yeah. Yeah. It is, it's kind of, it's pop. It's what you
it's
expect.
pop, yeah.
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 So I think most people feel very comfortable with it. It's not got anything jarring or new or like, oh my God, what's this 3/4 thing that's happening? It's
Right, it's
making me
not
feel
the
a bit
Lame
weird.
Impala, dissonance. It's what you we said, it has so much commercial appeal,
Yeah,
very
exactly.
radio friendly.
Yeah,
I would've thought this one would have higher streaming, but it's not being streamed on Spotify nearly as much as some of these others that we've mentioned.
yeah, but then again, he's not as well a known artist as some of the others. One of the things I quite like about this horns that is added, and it's really, really, really low down in the mix, to the point
Mm.
I've got my headphones on, I was literally pressing my headphones to my ears going, "There's horns there, I can hear them." And I really quite like that. He has added things that you don't expect to be there, but they're so subtly added that that's actually one of the reasons that it works so well as a pop track, because it's really subtle.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not in
Really,
your
really
face.
subtle. Yeah.
I like similarly to what I said I liked with the Ion remix, this use of this "ooh"
Yeah, the
part from
choral
the
bit, yeah.
original song, like, you're calling it the choral, okay. Yeah, I just like the use of that in this, and then I really like the part where he brings in Woosung's vocals, but then he strips down the melody to only, like, a single drum beat that's in the background, so Woosung's vocals just really, like, stick out to you, and then the piano comes back in, and then it just, again, kinda builds you back up to the climax at around 2 minutes, 45 seconds, and then, eh, it's that climax to me in this one, maybe this is what you were saying of the is this maybe what you meant of the expected drop, but, like, to me, that part, the build to the climax is really drug out to where almost
Yeah.
like you're like, "Okay, it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen."
Yeah.
It's a little bit uncomfortable, and then you finally get that
I
release.
was going to say something then, but
Yeah.
I'm not going to say it. Um,
Is this the reference to 50 Shades of
I'm not
Grey?
we
Stop,
will
we
not
won't go there.
mention the reference I made. No.
Moving on.
Moving swiftly on. Um, yeah, but it does, it kind of drags a bit and you're like, "Oh, for God's sake, get there, mate, get there."
Yeah, get there, buddy. I got other things to do.
Oh dear. Next track.
Next track. Let's take a pause. There were 3 remixes. I mean, this is Sammy's title track off of 4444. I think it is his favorite song. So I'm not surprised he had 3 different remixes of this one on this remix album. What's your rating on the 3? How would you rate them in order of your favorite to your least favorite?
I love the original. I'm not 100% sure any of them actually took it anywhere else.
Ooh. Mm.
Because it's a decent, solid dance track in itself.
I
And
mean, the
because of
original
that,
I can't
yeah,
wait till we do that album review because there's so much to dig into in the original. It is such a complex song. It's a unique song to in my
yeah,
opinion that I kind of see what you're saying. Like when we said at the beginning, what is a remix? It's a re-envisioning of the
yeah.
original artist. You don't really feel like any of these artists kind of took his original body of work to like a new level.
No, I mean, it's like, I mean, the remaking Harry Potter. Do we really need Harry Potter remaking?
Okay, unpopular opinion, and I don't know, this might impact our relationship. I hate Harry Potter.
Go away. I don't like you anymore.
Why is Harry Potter so popular?
Go away. I used to love you, Anne. I don't love you anymore.
I know, probably our listeners are gonna hate I'm gonna get hate mail now.
To be perfectly
How
honest, it's me that's going
dare
to get hate mail.
you?
It's not going to be you.
You're gonna edit this part out. But
No,
no,
I'm going to leave
I
this bit in.
back to the remixes. You're kinda saying, back to that perspective that a Black Rose shared, "If it ain't broke, don't fix it." So you're thinking, "Hmm,
I know they're all good remixes, but to me, I really like the original, so I don't necessarily click
mm,
with any of these and think it's taken the track anywhere else.
mm."
Because to me, if you're going to do a remix, I want it to be a remix. I want it to go somewhere else. I want it to be completely different. Things I like in all three, there's things I dislike in all three. But I think the Ion remix is possibly tips the scales for me.
Mm, yeah. I this was hard. I like all of these. I wouldn't say there's one that I don't like, but again, this is funny because I think of my perspective, right, as like the fan. I'm gonna go most EDM safe down to least EDM safe. I'm gonna go Casey Lights, Ion, and Mathame.
Yeah.
But I like all of them. I definitely do.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't dislike any of them, to be honest,
Mhm.
but I think the original track is stronger than all three remixes.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a solid opinion. Yeah. We're gonna move on. The last 2 tracks are kinda standalone songs, so there aren't, multiple versions. We're gonna go to "Never Let Go," the AJ remix. Um, I mean, when we previewed this album in episode 1, Into the Void, in our news segment, we both were super excited to hear what AJ was gonna do. So again, for listeners, AJ is Sammy's little brother. He turned 18 in August of last year. Woosung shared in a live stream at that time that AJ was venturing into becoming a DJ. There's not much publicly about AJ at this point, but in terms of just kind of history of him, he has a history in music. So even though he's young, he's 18, he's not new to music. He's been growing up around music. I think he started playing guitar, I estimate maybe from previous content, maybe 12, 13. He's appeared in multiple live streams with his older brother, Sammy, over the years. And I think he's been growing up in music. He's seen his older brother as a wonderful role model. And I'm so excited that AJ is venturing into his own area of music. He's not trying to copy his brother. And we mentioned in the last episode that there was a preview of a remix of Phase Me, which is a song from Woosung's Moth album. And that was an amazing remix. So I think he's got such a future. There was some content and I can't quote it because I can't remember where it was from, but I swear Woosung shared that AJ's DJ name is maybe Percy. Do you remember that, Kelly?
Yeah, I think it was the live he did from home before the actual album dropped.
Yeah. So we'll see
The
if
bit where he was going, "Am I sharing too much?" And it was like, "Yes, you are sharing too
I love
much."
that. I love spoiler Sammy. He's the best. So I guess, we'll see if AJ kind of starts this career of just going into the clubs in the LA scene and live, live DJing. Maybe he'll be under
That's
this.
what is
Yeah,
that's
Percy.
what he's gotta do if he's gonna do it. That's the
Yeah.
only way, yeah.
Yeah. So give us a breakdown of this one, Kelly.
So it's F sharp, G flat, it's 134 beats per minute, it's 4/4 again, and it's in a minor mode. This is one of my favourite songs off of the original album,
Me
and
too. Me too.
I think he's done a really good job. It's a really rock solid first attempt, first release. I mean, good on him. So he's come into the scene, and because he's at the point where he doesn't have any pressure on him, he can experiment a little bit. So he's pushed the boundaries just a little as a newbie, which is quite nice. But there's also some tried and tested things. So he's used the usual Euphoria build that you get in most tracks anyway. But he's put these really lovely padded synths in there,
Mhm.
and it gives it a drive before the Ibiza hook hits.
Yeah.
And that's really, really nice. So he's added some things in there, and I think he's done a really, really good job, and I'm quite impressed with it. There is one thing that drives me mad on this, and it was highlighted in this, and actually when I've gone back and listened to the original, it's like, oh God, it's on the original recording. The compressed vocals, I fucking hate it.
So tell us what you mean by compressed vocals.
So when you sing, they will compress your vocals. It's to compress the sound, it's to make it bigger, it's to
Mhm.
make it more solid. And when they do that, what tends to happen is it can get quite breathy.
Mm.
Um, so you will hear, and I'm sorry folks, because you're gonna hear this now I've said it, I apologize in advance. What you will hear is at the beginning of it. So just before he sings the word, you'll get a breath in. And I
Mhm.
don't know whether it's because I'm asthmatic as a kid and it's left with a post-traumatic stress disorder. I don't know, but when I hear it, it makes me feel uncomfortable. It's my own personal sort of dislike of vocals. So I don't want that to pepper anybody else's sort of idea
I gotta
of
go back
how the
and
vocals are.
yeah, try to listen for this. I haven't,
Don't,
like,
because you'll it's all you'll hear
I
if you
can't
do it.
unhear
Don't.
it, you're saying, once I do hear
Yeah,
it.
once you've heard it, you can't unhear it, and it's something I don't like. I mean, some people don't like sibilance, so
Mm.
when you're singing lots of S's, it drives my keyboard player mad. I mean, he writes a lot of our stuff and has done quite a bit of production, and one of our singles is called Saints of Excess. So can you
That's a
remember,
lot
imagine
of
how
S
many
sounds.
S's are in there? And he's like, Kelly, stop singing things with S's in it. I hate it. And I was like, as long as I don't sound breathy, I don't mind.
That's hysterical. Yeah, I hadn't
So
noticed this compressed, like, vocal. You said it's even in the original.
it is in the original, so I sort of went back, and because I'd heard it in this, and I thought, surely AJ's. It was a. If he's done it, it's a weird decision to compress the vocals
Mm.
because it didn't need doing. But actually, listening back to the original, it's on the original recording.
Yeah. I loved this one. I was excited about it, but then I'm gonna wholeheartedly admit, I feel like I am kind of biased because I feel like AJ's all of the Black Rose's little brother. So it's like, how can you not, like, I'm sorry, like, why are his streams not higher? Like, Black
They should
Roses,
be.
what is
They
wrong
should
with
be.
you? Why are we
It's
not
it's
streaming the AJ remix?
it's a
Come
really
on.
really decent track. He's done a stellar job, and the only reason that it hasn't got higher streams is the fact that he isn't a known DJ.
Yes, but he's known by Black Roses. That should be enough.
Yeah, but you've got to bear in mind, come on, I know you're part of the Kim Delulu tribe, but a
Ugh,
card carrying member of the Kim Delulus. But
why you
the
put me
thing
out on
you
Front Street, Kelly?
because I is evil.
Is
Anyway,
this payback for me saying I don't like Harry Potter?
yes, that's my Slytherin bit coming out in me. Actually, that's a lie. I am technically Ravenclaw, but everybody thinks I'm Slytherin.
Oh my gosh, I don't know what any of those words mean when you say those things, but
Everybody else will. You're just not part of the club.
I know. But you're basically just saying AJ's new. He doesn't have a name for himself,
Yeah,
obviously.
exactly. He doesn't have a
Yeah.
name for himself. He hasn't
He's
got an audience
yeah, he just
that are
has
going to listen to it as a
he
standalone
he
thing.
just has me as his older sister that's streaming his song over and over again. So I'll be the lone
We've all done
fan.
it. I love it. I think he's done a really good job.
I like the part that I like is what you were saying about these synths. I think he does a really great job at, like, hitting you hard kind of in the first 30 seconds of the song with this combination of, I call them clap synths. I don't know. I love my, like, weird terminology because I don't know what I'm talking about. But then he switches into the kind of this
It sounds
pulsing
like something that you need to go to the doctor's for.
claps clap synths. Oh my.
Oh dear.
Then he switches this pulsing beat, that, and then he strips down to only the vocals at about a minute 15, and I really like that. And then again, he kinda does the tempo build, and he just kinda does that repeating of the first, portion. I like personally that he extended the song, so this song is 3
Yeah.
minutes, where the original was only 2 minutes, 11 seconds, which I think
The
I
what
complained, "Why was that song so short?" That original song is so good. I did also think that there were a lot of layers of sound in this remix, so I think it is
yeah.
definitely very layered. It's a very danceable track. So,
Yes.
yeah,
Much
I
so.
think, like you said, for his first official release, I'm impressed, and I think he has obviously a really bright future ahead of him in music.
He may have had somebody micromanaging him over his shoulder.
Do you think so? Sammy doesn't seem like he's a micromanager like that. You think he
Really?
would?
Really? You don't think he's a micro?
Well, I think in his own shit, yeah, but I feel like for his little
No,
brother, I
I
feel like
think
he would let him do his own.
I think he would have been there sat as a supporting ear.
I think he's definitely a support for AJ. Yeah, yeah. But I think he'd let AJ do what felt like natural for wherever he wanted to go with the song.
It's kind of awkward though when you're working in the same space and somebody goes, "What do you think to this?" and you play it, because you then get body language even if they're not verbalizing it.
Yeah, I mean, Sammy on that live, last year when he played AJ played the Phase Me remix, I just remember Sammy's face was so to me, it was just this proud hyung, like, he was just this proud
He was
older
really proud of him.
brother,
Yeah, he was.
and just like, like, he's really good. So,
Yeah, it
yeah,
was. It was
I
very,
think
very sweet to watch. Yeah.
he supports his brother, however he can, which is why I was on my soapbox last episode about AJ coming out at the LA show.
Yeah, but as I've explained to you, it's really hard to build your first set. Once
Yeah.
you've done it, it then becomes easy because then you can just replicate it, but to just suddenly create a 30-minute set out of nowhere is really hard.
I don't need a 30-minute set out of AJ. What did I say? 1 song. He could have come out for 1
Come
song.
on, it honestly, it takes at least 15 minutes to set up. You
Just to
can't
set up
come
his
out, do
DJ
one
booth for
song
him to
and
do
go
1
away.
song?
Yeah, it doesn't work like that.
Oh, I'm unrealistic. Maybe the next tour in 2 years, we'll get AJ as the
Possibly,
guest DJ maybe.
possibly, yeah.
All right, why don't we wrap up with our final song, which is the "Before We Die," the Radio Garçon remix. Why don't you give us a little bit of background about this artist?
I really, really loved Radio Garçon in LA, and anybody who has heard me waffle on will know that I absolutely adored his set. I thought he was fantastic. Radio Garçon is a DJ from Switzerland. He's really well known in the techno scene as well, and he's strictly a DJ. That's just what he does. Doesn't mess around producing. He just is a DJ. He tends to go for a layering of hypnotic grooves, which I really like, and he just kind of builds and builds and builds.
I think this is so
And
funny because like you said, you loved his set. And I don't know if I necessarily like I was definitely liked DJ Raiden's set better than Radio Garson's, but I think it comes back to what you said in the last episode that he was live mixing,
uh-huh.
which means
Yeah.
this is his MO. This is what he is. This man is
Yeah.
just a DJ. Like you said, he's
He's just
not some polished record producer.
no.
Like, this guy's just a DJ
He's
through and
not sat on his aeroplane, on his private jet,
yeah,
literally with a laptop, mixing it all
right.
together. This guy's on the stage mixing it as he does it. That's exactly
Yeah.
what he does. And yeah, I really like it. And the fact that I mean, it probably makes more sense for me knowing that he's from Switzerland. It's like,
Mm.
yeah, there's that touch of that European sound. So that's kind of
Mhm.
probably why my brain went, oh, yeah, I get that. Um, but he does this really sort of subtle modulation thing, and it delays it, so you get more of a gratification. You
Mhm.
don't get this instant gratification all the time because it just builds and builds and builds and builds, and then when it gets there, you get more of a reward for it. A lot of them finish a little bit sort of
Mhm.
prematurely. It's sort of hence me going back to the like, "Ooh, the 1-minute drop," which
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
expected. You won't get that from DJ Garçon. He will just keep building and building and building. I really like his stuff. So you can check out his stuff on Spotify. He has put a couple of tracks on there now, and it's on Instagram as Radio Garçon. It's radio_Garçon. Sorry. So this track is in the key of B. It's 126 beats per minute. It's 4 beats per bar. It's what you expect. To be perfectly honest, it's not gonna twist with your mind or anything. And it's in a minor mode, which obviously the original is as well. It is, for want of a better term, a boots and cats beat. It's a 4/4 beat, and it is this very regular thing that he's got in there, which I was kind of surprised about because I kind of expected he might push it a little bit more. He's got this really nice padded synth intro as well,
Mhm.
which does build into the track.
Yeah, I really like
And
that too. I kinda describe
yeah,
it these, like, layers of these synth sounds that are under the beat, and then he gradually kinda
he
builds.
builds them. Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's a very subtle. At the end, it goes back to that. It's that subtle layering all the
Yeah, it's
time,
like he takes
and it
them
just
from the
builds and builds and
background
builds.
to kind of the forefront over a course of, bars in the song.
Yeah, he
That was
also
unique.
You probably won't hear it as much if you've got headphones on or if you've
Mhm.
just got it coming out of like a mono speaker or something. But if you've got like surround sound, he
Mhm.
actually moves the sound from the back of the speaker and
Right, right,
he'll
right.
from the back of the speaker array and he'll move it around the front. So you get this really nice wide cinematic sound with it, which is also why it feels like it lifts up through the beat as well. So that's
Mhm.
really cool and quite a quirky thing of it as well. It's got the sample of We Came and he uses it as a choral hit and then he sort of processed it and then he sort of dropped it down a couple of octaves. So it's in there, but it sounds more like an instrument than the actual
Mm.
vocal, and that's a nice touch as well. Um, it's got this really lovely grinding drive and then the drop.
Mhm.
So again, it's all about layering and building and just building the suspense. This is another one though where the kick drum is really dry, but there's a slight bit of reverb put on there, so it just makes it sound a little thicker. So
Mhm.
it sounds a little bit more instead of it just being sort of like a slipper against a cardboard box, it's got that slight push that you'd get of if you were playing a drum kit in a venue. So you get that little bit of reverb echo on it.
Mhm.
We're not to like rock kick standard where you get that boom that you get in an arena, and that's the sound that a lot of bands go for, but you don't tend to get that in dance because they tend to go for this really concise, dry sound.
Yeah,
But yeah, I like this one, but that's mainly because I think I just like his style.
yeah, I this is kind of I think where we differ again. Like I don't not like this one, but maybe I'm thinking of too much maybe to the original song, which I
Mm.
probably shouldn't do because this is a re-envisioning of Before We Die. I think Before We Die as to me as like a dance track. I loved it when it first
Yeah,
came
it's a
out.
fantastic track.
It's a fantastic track. This tempo feels slower. Is this a slower tempo than the original?
I think it is, yeah.
Yeah, it felt
It's
slower.
not much slower, but it is, yeah.
Yeah, it feels slower. I mentioned, like, I really love those synths that we talked about, how he buries them and then he pulls them to the
Mm.
forefront. I love that aspect of it. I do like where he also then builds you up and then he drops the beat and he only has the vocals of Sammy where he's saying like push it off, push it
And that's
down.
lovely.
I literally liked that
Yeah,
part of it
yeah, it's lovely.
too. And then I kinda put in my notes, there's this, like, dissonance created when Sammy's doing the vocals of, like, "Before We Die."
Yeah,
I like those aspects of it, but I guess for me, I didn't necessarily like it. I like the original song. Maybe it goes to what you were saying about Forget Forever and how you felt about those remixes.
yeah,
I did not like the
exactly.
remixes, but they didn't necessarily push the song,
Yeah,
to a different level for you. I think that's how I feel about this one. So it's like it's okay. I find that because it's the last song in the list in the album, I drive myself through the album and then I kind of get to this one and then I'm like, "Nah, I could stop here." Like, I kind
I
of find
think it
myself doing that.
I think if it had got a different position in the album, you'd probably listen to it more.
I think if it had a different position, you're exactly right. I do feel like I would listen to it more, which I
And I
think is
think
interesting. Yeah.
because you've got multiple versions of the same song, you also get slightly burnt out because they're all chunked together.
Yeah, I wonder why he organized the songs in the way that he
I
did
don't
on the
know.
album.
I
I
don't
think you're
bloody
right,
know.
like, I kinda would like a little, different like, him to stagger the different versions, especially the Forget Forevers, because they're not so different from each other. It's not like
Yeah,
the Let There Be Light where you were just almost thrown off by how different those 2 versions are.
yeah,
You are kinda burned out by, 15 minutes of Forget Forever for, like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Mhm. Yeah, so
yeah.
I think he maybe should have, varied up the track list a little bit more, but yeah, I guess
But
as we wrap up, any
I
final
think
thoughts?
I think for his first remix album as such, I think he's it's a good job. I think he's picked and collaborated with decent DJs to do
Yeah.
it. But personally, I think the Phase Me single that was done as
Yes.
a remix
Mhm.
is far superior to the stuff that's on here.
Yeah, forgive me, who was that artist? Do you remember that, DJ artist off the top of your head? It's something
Ye
fancy.
Yeah, give me half a second and I will find it for
While you're
you.
finding it, I will completely agree. I love that remix, and I guess now that you bring that up, it even shows us as far back as the Moth era, which was 2022. Sammy was definitely interested in EDM because that remix was a complete EDM dance remix.
So it's Fancy Ink.
Yeah, I love that remix. He did
Yeah.
play that, he inserted that into his set, he transitioned from the original Phase Me into that remix, in the Before We Die tour, and I think it's one of the best parts of the show.
Yeah, I actually think that's one of the best remixes he's had done, full stop.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, overall, I agree with you. I think this is his first like remix album. I think it's got a variety of artists that he's highlighting. And again, I like the sound, the bite that we have from the allkpop.com article, kind of understanding why he wanted to do this. He wanted to give these other artists an opportunity to kind of re-envision his work and give some visibility to some of these other artists in the industry. So I like that. I think it's great.
It is. It is really cool, and I can understand why he's done it.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's the deep dive for this episode. We're going to wrap up with our humor segment. If you remember from the first episode, we always kind of end with something fun. Here's another would you rather. So we want to hear from all of you listeners on what you would pick this time. So Kelly, here's your would you rather. You've got for 24 hours, you have to babysit 5 toddler dojuns. So toddler age is probably something like 2 to 3-year-old dojuns, all by yourself, and you're stuck in a room with them for 24 hours.
You only need 50 cents to have fun with the rules.
Or you're stuck in a room with 5 Hajuns in which he's only talking to you in corny dad jokes.
He does like 400, so there's 4 moments that we like, so he's looking at the only 4 moments.
Yeah.
But girls like it.
Oh, really?
So you mean 400 girls, but 4 girls you like you?
That's enough.
That's enough. Yes, that's enough.
Do I have to pick one?
You do. You don't have to
Really?
You can't pick one of them. So it's got to be the lesser of 2 evils.
Oh God. Right, okay. I will take the 5 toddlers.
You're going with 5 toddler dojuns?
I'll go with, well, yeah, you're assuming that I'm not hyperactive.
Oh my
And I wouldn't.
god. I think that is literally what hell is like for me. He's so extra and he's so hyper. Can you fathom what he was like as a toddler?
Come on, you've been around me for quite a while, so you know what I'm like at the best of times.
Oh my god, there is a
You know what
person for
I'm
you.
like when boredom kicks in. So I need to do something. Let me do something. Yeah,
Oh my
no.
god.
No, I no, 5 toddlers. I can do it.
You're a better person than I am. I'm going with 5 Hajuns telling me the corniest of all corny dad
Oh,
jokes for 24 hours straight.
you see, now I couldn't do it because I'm in a band with 3 guys that just say corny jokes all the time. I need a respite from
Oh my god. I'm a sucker for corny humor.
Sometimes I'm home alone and I would just think, it would just like come into my head what he said, and I'd just be like, and then I would really feel bad about myself.
So I ignore him too.
I love corny humor. So yeah,
Oh no, I like corny humor, just not when it's fired at you continuously.
24 hours straight.
No,
5
no.
Hajuns just
I'd
telling
be
me
gagging
corny
him.
jokes. I'm gonna have my hair all pulled out by the end of the 24
You will.
hours.
No, I could cope with the toddlers. So one of my nicknames, and I can't believe I'm saying this, I can't believe I'm admitting it. One of my nicknames is Mary Poppins.
Oh, wow. I could see that. And you have the amazing accent, so it goes right into it.
Yeah, but you do know why it's Mary Poppins, don't you?
No.
Because I have a habit of putting men on the naughty step.
Oh. Oh, those these you're basically saying that those toddler dojuns don't know what's in for them. You're gonna whip them into shape.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Bit spot.
Well, you can be you're gonna beat Sassy Sammy. That was our last would you rather. So you're taking out Sassy Sammy. So I think you can handle some toddler dojuns.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God, well, it's the same thing, isn't it?
I think it is. I think one
Ooh,
Sassy
that was
Sammy
mean of
is
me.
equatable to 5 toddler dojuns running
Yeah,
around.
it is. It is, to be perfectly honest. It's the same energy.
Yeah, it is the same energy.
It is.
Okay, that makes perfect sense. Well, listeners, tell us what you think. Would you rather be stuck for 24 hours in a room with 5 toddler dojuns at the max hyper energy or with 5 hajuns telling you the worst of all corny dad jokes? We
Oh,
can't
no.
wait to hear what you guys would pick. Join us next time, our deep dive. We're going to go back into the Roses discography. The next album in line is the Dawn album. So excited to talk about some of these classic songs in our deep dive. Please rate our podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Leave us comments about this episode. We love to hear your feedback. So thank you so much to everyone who's been sharing feedback with us. Please continue to do so. If you haven't already, follow us on social media on Instagram and X. We are at KROC_cast. That's KROK_cast. Also, you can email us krock.cast@gmail.com.
Click here to subscribe.
Thank you so much, everybody, and see you next time.
Thanks a lot, folks. See you later. Bye.